Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Let's bring in Dan Murphy from Sportsnet. Game one, Canucks and Oilers Wednesday at Rogers Arena. Murph, thanks for doing this, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good, gentlemen. How are you guys?
Good, good. Hey, what was it like being in Nashville after the Canucks clinched?
It was fun, because I was I'm down the hallway as soon as they score, and a minute and a half left, so you have to get ready for your post-game interview. Mm-hmm. And so you're kind of setting up, and then Lindholm takes that penalty on, I guess it was Nyquist, right? Cross-check.
Yeah, 30 seconds left, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know how many F-bombs or how many employees were there in the hallway and in the gym and in the dressing room and the coach's room. But it was chaos. Like, there was so much swearing and this is BS and blah, blah, blah. And anyways, and then the last 30 seconds, as you know, was just ridiculous. And then just the hooting and hollering and the music starting. And, I'm just outside the dressing room. So it's kind of fun to see when the coaches come out and they enjoy a moment like that and the players are all happy. So it's fun to be around that.
Brock Boeser setting up the game's only goal, Pius Suter. What's made Boeser such an effective playoff performer? I don't think people, as well as he played the regular season, I don't think people expected this from him.
I mean, I think he's a solid player on the wall. He's bigger than most people think. Mm-hmm. Like, he's a well-built kid. He's big. He's thick. So I think that's helped. I think that the pace that his teammates play with help him, because he's not a guy that needs to handle the puck a lot, but he can protect it when he gains the zone against the wall and distribute. And then I think his offensive instincts, right? Just we know he's been a goal scorer. Those guys tend to find little pockets of ice where nobody else is. They know where the puck is going to go, and he's managed to finish. So I think all those little things has helped him out in that regard.
Hey, Dan, thank God you were in Nashville. You got to show us, Miller, skating around with Silov's shirt. Talk about the impact of that, the feeling, loosening up the guys, dressing room. What did you get out of that?
Well, first off, we were just, we're up in the stands, and, the Nashville media had already left. And so we're waiting for practice to start. And I see JT come out. And now I'm 20 rows up. I need glasses. I can't see anything. I just see this. Tell my cameraman, what is that? Shoot it. I've got no idea. And then I'm on my text right away trying to figure out what's going on. So it obviously got some chuckles. Players out there made sure that he kept it on for at least a few drills. And then, afterwards, it's nice to have something different to talk about, right? You're reacting to a game right after the game, and then you're reacting to the game the next day, and then you're reacting to the game pregame the next one. So it's always nice to have something slightly different to talk about. And, I don't know if there was a method to his madness. I think he was planning to have some fun with the kid when he saw what he was wearing to the rink, but I'm sure it did break up a little bit of what can be a stressful time in a playoff series, coming off a loss and not wanting to go home for Game 7.
Dan, I don't know why the Canucks are even going to hit the ice. No one's picking them to win. 24 people at ESPN, 23 picked the Oilers. They are clearly the underdogs, no question here. But I think what Tocchet said yesterday, I relish that. I'm okay with being the underdog.
Yeah, I think they have to. Andrew Burnett tried to play that role in the first round, right? No one expects us to be here. And now Rick Tocchet could say the same thing. No one expects us to beat that guy. Even like some of the different analytics models I've seen, I think the Athletic was like 75% for the Oilers. I think another one I saw was 80% for the Oilers. So, when people plug in the numbers and what these two teams do, Vancouver are, huge underdogs. I think only the Bruins might be more underdogs in this round. Anyway, this team has kind of been resilient all season long. And I think you have to feel somewhat good in that their success comes from their defense and their structure and their goaltending. And that's what it's kind of been since the All-Star break. I know they scored 1 million goals in the first half of the season, a high-scoring team. But for this team to have success, they have to play a defensive style. And they did that against Nashville. And they were in close games. They managed to win those games and not give up a ton. Now, the Edmonton Oilers are not the Nashville Predators. They have two of the best players on the planet, including the best player on the planet. They attack with 2-3 lines deep. So it's going to definitely be a challenge. I wish that Demko was healthy to start this series. I think that would add a layer for Vancouver. But yeah, I don't think I would pick them to win, but I think they've got a puncher's chance if they can play that defensive style. And let's not forget, Game 80, they went to Edmonton with the division on the line. Like, Edmonton was trying to win that game. Edmonton was trying to get some revenge for the 3 losses earlier. They got their coach fired. And Casey DeSmith played well, and the team played well, and they won 3-1. So I think the Canucks can take some confidence from that.
Murph, Nikita Zadorov, what has he meant to the Canucks?
He's just such a character. He's so fun. I know when he first got here, the reputation was he was dangerous at both ends of the ice, right? Like defensively and offensively. But I think he's one of those guys in the playoffs that I think he's kept it in check in terms of not getting out of position to make hits. But man, if he has a chance to finish someone, he's going to finish it. He's done a good job on not really crossing the line. Is there anything more fun than when a guy who's 6'6", 250 can lug the puck up ice and make something happen, like we saw with that goal in Game 5? So it's one of those players that if they can find a way to sign him, and I believe they're trying to do that. I'm sure Rick has talked about it. I think they'd like to get him signed. I just don't know the number and the term. But he's one of those guys I think that could really be a fan favorite moving forward from this playoffs alone, even if it only is going to be 2 rounds.
So you're around the team much more than we are. What do you notice when it comes to Elias Pettersson? And everybody's speculating there must be an injury. And can you envision him picking up his game as this postseason goes on?
I can envision that. I mean, I think we look at his career so far, there's always been kind of ebbs and flows, peaks and valleys. And I think the valleys almost always come with a crisis of confidence. I'm sure he's a little bit banged up, not 100%, but I don't think it's anything that's going to stop him from playing. And I think it's good for him that now the slate is kind of wiped clean after that first-round playoff series. And he was a big part in that goal for Suter too, right? Won the battle on the wall, got the puck to Boeser. So I think for him, it's more of a confidence thing. And he has a chance to be, I think he needs to be an impact player in this series, because if we're reading the tea leaves, probably Miller gets a McDavid line. Probably Lindholm gets a Draisaitl line. Well, at least Pettersson up against McLeod or whoever they might match in the bottom 6. He can make a difference, right? He can find his offense. The one thing I wish he'd do, and Talk talked about it, and I talked about it all year, is if he's got a chance for the one-timer, even if the lane is closed, waste a couple. Make it hurt. Like if they want to get in that lane and they're 10 feet off of you, rip a couple. And they're probably not going to be as keen to do that the next time. So don't always look for the perfect shot or the perfect pass. Do what Stamkos does. And he doesn't care who's coming out there to block it. He is ripping it. And I wish Pettersson would do that a little bit more.
Murph, by the way, Delaney's OK Tire and Langley inbox. A lot of love for the glasses. They're looking good. And
looking good.
I'm right behind you. I'm right behind you, buddy. I'll have a pair in a week or two. Thanks so much for this.
Okay, I want to say one more thing, and because we had the roast last night for Tom Brady, and we all roast each other because that's how we show love, and that's a good thing. But I always think we should say nice things, and I've said degrees of this to Don before, but I want to say something else for the people that may not hear it every time, and for what he deserves. And I'm going to take a minute here so I rhyme. But when I started working at Sports Page, I was 4 hours Saturday, 4 hours Sunday, and then I picked up some shifts. These guys, him, and I'm going to throw Barry McDonald in there too. So he's in the same breath. They're at the top of the game, the absolute pinnacle. It was a provincial show. There weren't the national shows. These guys with their writing, their humor, their interviews, their reporting, everything was at the very top, right? And they had every reason to have big heads. They didn't. I stole whatever I could. Pacing, interview style, writing style, humor, how to approach interviews, how to stretch them out. I stole whatever I could. And I still do to this day. And it's amazing Don is still at the peak of his game. But the one thing, didn't matter. If you were a production assistant like I was, if you ran the prompter, if you were in graphics, if you were in makeup, they treated you all like the pink shirt day every day, right? They brought you into the group. There was inclusivity. They made it fun to be there, and they treated everyone with absolute respect, and they had fun with everyone. It was the best team environment of all time in work. So I'd like to think I would have been that way moving forward without meeting Don, but they absolutely instilled that in me. So Don, I thank you.
All right, well, I can't thank. Now you're at the top, Murph, and trust me.
And Rick, I love you too.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Murph, thanks for the kind words. I can't. Check's in the mail. What can I say? Appreciate it. Thanks so much, Murph. You bet.